and welcome to episode 29 dun, 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 of the LDG Experience podcast. You know what that means, guys, don't you?
Next episode is Q&A.
Yes.
Q&A.
Yeah,
Yes.
we love some
Looking
Q&A.
forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Q&A.
They've always been interesting so far. They're really intrigued.
Yeah. I've come up with some good ones for you.
Good.
And quick shout out to our new listeners in France and New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Bonjour. Good day, with a more New Zealand accent.
Do they good day in New Zealand?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that's Australia.
Good morning? I don't know. Yeah.
Hello anyway. You
hello to all the sheep in Australia, in New Zealand.
Yes, hello to you and your...
And also some people.
Yeah, and the occasional other human being that lives in New Zealand.
One of the random facts I know about New Zealand is one of 2 countries in the world where the population of sheep exceeds the number of people.
Yes. It's very sheep-orientated.
Why I know that? I have no idea. Wales.
Wales.
Yeah.
Yes.
My homeland. Yes. Well, my ancestral homeland, I should say, because my family's been in England for generations. Fools. But yes, so I have a surprise for today. The reason why in the introduction you didn't get today's topic is because I had a thought. I know it's rare. I did have one.
Do you need to lie down now?
Yes, but fortunately the thought happened yesterday, so I have slept since.
Oh, right,
And I was like, I've got a great idea for a topic of conversation for today's podcast. Now, I'm pretty certain that your knowledge of this is good, Pete. And if
I hope so.
And if I'm
wrong,
it's
going to be a very interesting episode.
If I'm wrong, I'm going to be doing a lot of reading off this screen next to me, which I'm going to be doing.
I might be scrabbling through the books,
through books and all sorts of stuff for today's topic, because in a run-up to episode 31, in which I want to discuss Primaris Space Marines and their origins and all the rest of it. But before that, I thought we'd discuss older Space Marines, and I was like, well. We've done a successor chapter 1, and I was thinking we could do another one of them, and I was like, I think we covered the core ones. But then I thought, now then, what would we do if we were to discuss the 21st founding, or
the cursed founding?
The cursed founding, yes.
Yes.
So how is your knowledge on the 21st founding, Pete?
It's one of those where I'm like, I can see the file on the shelf, but it's covered in dust.
Yes, I thought it might be. I'm going to see what I can shake.
There's bits. Because the thing is, I think I get confused sometimes between there's the. I'm trying to remember whether this is the one that the Inquisition were kind of like, do the thing, and the Mechanicum were kind of like, really, and they were like, yes, do the thing, make some stuff, make some Space Marines for us, and then it all went wrong. Or whether I'm confusing that with I think it's the 13th founding was also messed up a bit.
Yeah, so there's 2 foundings that very often get mixed up with each other. It's the 13th and the 21st. The 21st.
Yes.
I'm going to be reading off to the screen, because
this is what will happen. What will probably happen is you'll be able to prompt me, and there'll be things you'll say words or chapter names, and I'll be like, yes, I know where we are now.
Okay, so this founding.
The problem with all this knowledge swimming around in here.
It took place just before the 36th millennium in 991 M35, and it's shortly before the start of the Age of Apostasy, which at some point we will discuss because
it's awesome.
It's awesome. So in everything else, the focus of the 21st founding for the Adeptus Mechanicus was perfecting and removing existing identified deficiencies in flawed Adeptus Astartes gene seed. So it was the Mechanicum.
What could possibly go wrong?
What would possibly go wrong?
Stay tuned to find out.
It turned out that they weren't quite as good as that as the Emperor of Mankind was.
I know. Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew? And basically, every single one of the chapters they created went catastrophically wrong in some way.
Yes.
Most of them, I believe, ending up falling to chaos in some way. But
being eradicated.
Yes. It was in 998 M41. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. That's the wrong bit. Sorry, let me do that. Here we are, the chapters. This is the bit where it will jog your memory. So
here we go.
There's the first chapter on our list is the Black Dragons.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So, what do you know of them, Pete? Let me.
So, the Black Dragon Space Marines. They have a problem with, and I'm gonna get the. I think it's the osmodular. It's one of them. It's the implant that's responsible for bone growth.
Yes, you are correct. It's the osmodular.
Hey, there we go. You have a problem with the osmodular, which causes them to grow spikes off the back of their. They go bone crests out the top of their heads, and they also grow massive spikes out of the back of their wrists.
Yes.
That is one of their that is their notable deformity.
Yes, they also grow longer fangs. Poisonous fangs is the other notable thing.
Yes. Yeah. An overactive Betcher's gland.
Yes, correct.
Which is the implant that allows Space Marines to secrete acidic spit.
Yes.
So they can chew through steel bars.
Yeah. So the Black Dragons were censured by the Inquisition due to the mutation in the chapter's gene seed, especially in the osmodular, as you said.
Yes.
So the Black Dragons, they are still a loyalist chapter. They didn't fall.
They were at Armageddon, I believe.
I believe they were at Armageddon.
They were definitely Armageddon 3.
Yeah, definitely Armageddon 3. One of the things that you find with the Black Dragons is they, like a lot of the chapters from this that have managed to maintain some sort of loyalty, is that they don't work well with others.
No, they tend to be very secretive or withdrawn because of usually their flaw.
Yeah, because of the flaw they have, the Inquisition doesn't like them, so they don't like being anywhere where the Inquisition might be, i.e.
might find them,
with everyone else. But they are still a loyalist chapter, which is unusual for this particular list of things. But yeah, that's the deformity. Now, it doesn't give me in here who their they're a successor chapter of someone, but it doesn't tell me who the primogenitor.
Yeah, well, a lot of the Curse Founding, there's a couple of the Curse Founding ones that you can obviously work out who their primogenitors are, and some of them are unknown. But as far as I'm aware, a lot of them are there's also, this is where I get confused between this and the 13th. I think the 13th was an attempt to use traitor DNA, traitor gene seed to make new Space Marines. And yeah, I think this one there was a bit of chimerism, so I think they used different. They were messing about with them. So some are literally we're going to take, say, the Blood Angel's flaw and correct it, and some of them are a bit well, maybe if we put some of this in there, maybe that'll work together. So I think that's why a lot of them are unknown, because they're bit of column B.
Yeah, if I had to put you on the spot for the Black Dragons,
Salamanders,
isn't it?
Salamanders. Yeah. I would assume based on or maybe Raven Guard.
Raven Guard was the other one I was going to say. It's either Salamanders or the Raven Guard.
And maybe,
the first thing that popped into my
that's why I say maybe
Legion,
two.
So.
What? The Black Legions? The
Sons of Horus. That's traitors.
Oh.
They're the traitors, baby.
Oh.
They could be them. It could be. There's nothing ruling out.
Well, because the other,
because the Inquisition being the Inquisition. Sorry, the Adeptus Mechanicus being the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, nothing's illegal unless someone specifically tells me that it is.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm rubbish at guessing successor chapters and primogenitor factions.
So the next one on my list, one I don't know anything about. So this one's on you, Pete. The Blood Gorgons. Do you know anything about them?
I don't know them. No, I don't know anything about the Blood Gorgons.
Okay, so
I think the few notable ones I do know I'll probably as soon as you say the name, I'll be because I don't know whether the Lamenters are in this.
Coming up that are very much you will know. So the Blood Gorgons, multiple chaos mutations, aversion to authority, and highly independent. The Imperium declared the Blood Gorgons renegade and excommunicate Traitorus a mere 6 solar decades after their founding. Good lord, that was quick.
Wow.
So
they basically just went on a rampage, and they were like,
no. Is nothing for a chapter. That's like a fortnight. The Blood Gorgons, who valued their freedom and independence above all else, refused to swear allegiance to any patron chaos god, preferring to serve chaos in the general form of Chaos Undivided. So they are a Chaos Undivided traitor chapter. And that is all I have on them. That's everything.
Yeah, a lot of these, I think, a bunch of them are just little anecdotes.
See if I can grab any more information really quickly.
Well, my guess for them would be that they would come from the chapter of our Lord and Saviour, Commander Dante.
Yes.
Sure,
yeah.
Probably,
you would have thought with the name like Blood Gorgons.
Yeah, it does.
But then but then Gorgon, like maybe they were a combination of Blood Angels and Iron Hands.
Iron Hands is another one because the Gorgon is, of course,
is Ferrous Manus' name. So maybe they were a combination of the both.
Although it does say here in the chapter rites and practices, they do practice blood bonding. But it doesn't say anything about the Black Rage, which all successor chapters of the Blood Angels suffer the Black Rage and the Red Thirst.
But like I said, they might maybe they fixed the flaw in that respect, but also gave them the Iron Hands massive contempt for other people with weakness.
So that's to do with demonology, the blood bonding thing, sacrifices of war. They sacrifice people in blood. Very, Let me see if there's anything else. They do talk a lot about bonding and blood and sacrifices to blood demons and things. So I do think possibly sort of a combination of let me see, Blood Angels, Iron Hands, stuff like that. I think is the thing. They do have some notable characters. They do have quite a good history. I'm not going to read it all out because there's quite a lot of it actually. So the project, by the way, for the 21st founding, I did fail to mention, is Project Homo Sapien Novus was what it was called for the 21st founding. Not that matters too much, but So moving on from the blood Gorgons to the next faction, the next chapter I don't know a lot about is the Flame Falcons. Do you know them, Pete?
Oh yes. So I believe it's the Flame Falcons are their thing. Their problem is that they are permanently on fire. I believe it's them that they're spontaneously flame. They
you are correct.
Basically they're surrounded. Yeah, but they're surrounded by flame, even in their armor and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they're also.
Go on. Sorry.
I said they also might be one of the origins of the Legion of the Damned.
No, that's coming up.
Oh, is that the other one? Yeah, because
that's
another
the other one.
fire.
They're coming on to them next. The Flame Falcons declared excommunicate Taurus within a century of their inception, so a little bit longer than the Blood Gorgons, but still 100 years is pretty short. A long time. Not a long time at all.
No.
Almost entirely wiped out by the Inquisition's Grey Knights after they assaulted the Flame Falcons' homeworld of Leith, following a great victory when their bodies spontaneously burst into flames that did not burn their own flesh. There were a small number of Flame Falcons escaped that day. Nothing of their fate is known. So you're right. They are the ones that just burst into flames randomly.
Yes.
So
my money on them is probably actually Thousand Suns.
Yeah, it does sound very Thousand Suns-y, doesn't it?
It does. Suspiciously so.
Suspiciously,
I just want to take a quick aside here, though, because I love how when we talk about 40k, especially, the time scales is a thing. Because I say we jokingly say 60 years, 100 years, that's nothing. Yeah. And I think that's something worth commenting on in terms of 40k in general, is that is a really interesting thing. You get so used to these spans of time, which when you stop and think about it, we think about the heresy was 10,000 years ago, and you're yeah, but 10,000 years ago we were like sticks in a rock, kind of term. That's Egypt is 4,000 years ago. That's the age of apostasy. That's the equivalent to the age of apostasy. It's 4,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And the civilizations we go there, we're a century. That's nothing. And you're but it isn't. That's an entire just over a standard human lifespan.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that because 40k is so big.
Yeah.
The one that always gets me is that Cambridge University is older than the Aztec Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mad, isn't it? But that's the thing. Like, but that's one of the things I love about 40K is of all the science fiction sort of universes that are out there. I think the thing I love about 40K is its sense of scale.
Oh yeah,
like both in time and space.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. We're like, oh yeah, it takes like 2 years for them to turn around on a bureaucracy thing. You know, and that's like we're like, man, that was really quick. And you're like, no, it isn't. Yeah. Can you imagine if you were like, can you fill this pothole outside? I mean, they're bad enough as it is. Like, you go, can you fill this pothole? And they're like, you know, and then 10 years later, some commission turns up and it's like, that pothole's now like 30 feet deep, you know, like kind of thing. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, we'll back in a bit. And then like another, and then your kid comes along and like another, like this guy turns up with like a bucket of like, you know, tarmac 80 years later to your grandkids. And he's like, oh, the pothole has been here forever. We venerate it now. No, it's got to be filled in. Yeah, we've got the paperwork. Like, this is the kind of scale we talk about in 40K, and we're just like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to go on that side because I thought it was quite, you know,
I think the fact that when they're doing books, they kind of have to shoehorn in bits.
Yeah.
Because especially the Fall of Cadia is a prime example of this, which I love a lot. The actual battle of the Fall of Cadia, the telling of it was a bit weird, but the actual scale. You've got basically the assault of Cadia is happening. They've obviously sent out for reinforcements from Cadia. They're like, bad shit is happening.
Press the big red button. Yeah.
Like, we are getting assaulted, guys. We need help here. This is way bigger than we thought. And you've got like sporadic bits. Like there's a Blood Angels fleet turns up with a couple of companies on it. Like the 3rd and 8th, I think, arrive to help. And then you've got like Saint Celestine's battle barge arrives with her lot, and that's not plugging the dam at all. That's making no difference. They're just like slowly edging back into things, and then Battlefleet Solar arrives with the Phalanx, with the headquarters of the Imperial Fist. They arrive, and that's like a really cool moment where you've got the Phalanx versus a Blackstone Fortress. The problem is that it takes a good couple of years at the best of times for anything to get from Solar from Terra, from Earth, to Cadia, the Eye of Terra. So they had to go in and be like, we arrived real quick, and now we've got to explain why we arrived so fast for this really cool moment, because there's no way they sent Battlefleet Solar, the biggest defense fleet in
but then the thing is, I think the great thing about 40K is it does have a built-in excuse.
Yes.
The warp. Because literally, that's the point. You could have, they could have sent Battlefleet Solar out, and it could have turned up 20 years later, or it could turn up yesterday.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the great thing about 40K. It's like, the great thing about the warp is it's the built-in excuse for the,
what they did was they were like, so obviously, Abaddon was closing warp routes, and there was big warp stones because the Cicatrix Maledictum was trying to happen as the Battle of Cadia is going on, and the pylons on Cadia were what were holding back the last remnants of the Cicatrix to stop it from happening. So until Cadia went away, it was just like fragmenting warp routes. And they had a warp route planned, and the guy, the astropath on the Phalanx was like, they're closing around us. We've got no choice. We have to go a different way. Otherwise, we're going to lose the whole of Battlefleet Solar to a Chaos warp storm. So they were like, okay, well, and he says, well, I've found a what I think might be a route, but if we don't take it, we're all dead. And they went, well, obviously take the route then. And of course, it was a much faster route, and it took them so much quicker, and they arrived so much earlier. And it's like, yes, bullshit warp route that just appeared out of nowhere. But it got this.
But the thing is, this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. Like, this is the thing. In some universes, you'd be like, I call bullshit on that one.
On that.
Yeah, but like in 40K, you're just like, this happens all the time. Yeah. That's fair. Like that's why I talk about rules and stuff in universes. And the thing is, the great thing about the warp is it is that great get out of jail free card for 40K writers, because so much weird shit. But the thing is, when it's done properly. But the thing is, you explain it to me, and I'm like, that makes total sense. The warp routes are going a bit crazy because of all the stuff that Abaddon's doing. Yeah, I can imagine it's almost like a funnel. You know, like if you start closing off taps, that one last one's going to get faster and faster. kind of thing. So it's like it makes a bit of logical sense in your head, and you go, yeah, that checks out. Like it fits the rules. This is the kind of example of
it also
writing.
Leads to a really cool moment for the first time in 40k lore history, where the Phalanx, which we don't know a great deal about. We know that Rogel Dorn found.
No, it's fucking huge.
We know it's massive. He found it above the planet he was on. I can't remember what it's called. He found it. He got it working again because it wasn't actually. They've never really figured out what it does or all of its operations or anything. They got it going basically, and that arrives. This colossal space station arrives. And it's facing off against a Blackstone fortress, which we've heard of before. These colossal, ancient...
they're star killers.
Star killers designed to kill entire stars, to kill or stop the Satan feeding on them. And they were there, and they were sort of like bombarding the planet. And the Phalanx turns up and opens up broadsides on the Blackstone fortress. So Abaddon's like, where the fuck did that come from? And it's like two guns, fleets attacking fleets, and it's just epic mode. You can't have that if it takes 15 years for Battlefleet Solar to get from Terra to Cadia, because by the time they arrive, Cadia is just dust. Like, it's gone. You can't have that moment. You've got to be able to write in epic moments like that.
And I think it adds, I think, and they do it a lot there's a lot of time with warp travel, like, again, coming back to the obligatory, we haven't done this for a while, but the obligatory Devastation of Baal reference, technically a sequel, Darks in the Blood, which is where they're using Mephiston as a guide through the warp. But it's like, that's the kind of thing, the peril of the warp and the sort of risk-reward factor of travelling through it, I think adds a lot in terms of narrative story things. Because you're like, yes, it's that kind of classic Odyssey thing, isn't it? We've got to go through Scylla and Charybdis, and it's like, it's the only way home kind of thing. And it's like, we've got to make that possible, go for the risky strategy. You've got to go around Cape Horn or whatever it might be, in the Age of Sail. It's like that real kind of like, but we, if we risk a lot, we can be there in time. And it's like, I think it adds a lot.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's
a lot of real well written for you. Anyway, back to the Cursed Founding. I just thought that was an interesting aside.
No, it is. I love it. I love the tangent. It's really good. Yeah. So moving on. This one is the one that you were referencing earlier. It's a chapter called The Firehawks.
That's it. Firehawks. Flame Falcons, Firehawks. I don't know.
Yeah, similar thing.
Sparkler Pigeons.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay, so the Firehawks has often been held in higher regard by the High Lords of Terror and their agents, more than anybody else in this particular thing.
Did the Sparkler Pigeons chapter, did that tickle you there, Evie?
Yeah, Evie's gone. I've lost my co-host. Never mind. So this was because several other Space Marine chapters considered the Firehawks darkly tainted over their prideful nature, basically. But
I wonder whose GC they might have gotten.
Yeah, just a little bit. But let's see, where was this? Some went so far as to suggest the Firehawks have been corrupted by some flaw in the chapter's collective psyche or gene seed. Though none would gainsay their effectiveness in battle. So they are, these ones again, loyalists still, chapter. They didn't get excommunicate Traitoris.
They're just a bit up themselves.
But they are a little bit up themselves. Sons of Horus. So
I was going to say Emperor's Children.
No, Sons of Horus. Pride, man. That was Pride was his downfall.
Pride is arrogance is his. Sorry, is his downfall. No, Pride is Emperor's Children.
Oh, Fulgrim's boys.
We're the best. Their whole thing is pride.
No.
Yeah.
No, they're not Fulgrim's boys. Fulgrim's boys wouldn't go end up being the Legion of the Damned. That's not. No.
No, but the pride side of it is very much Legion of the Damned. That's very like, we're the best, perfection. We're better than everyone else.
I'm not sure.
That's like their entire shtick.
No, I'm not sure about that. I think maybe.
Could they have decided to cross the gene seed?
Well, maybe,
maybe. It says here, overly prideful. Where was I? I missed it.
Yeah.
Overly prideful and wanting in brotherhood. That's their thing from the curse.
Yeah.
So it does sound a bit
like... They're basically dicks, but they've been that one guy that comes to, like, you shove wherever it's like, there's just one of those as insufferable, arrogant assholes, but desperately wants friends.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe if you weren't such an insufferable, arrogant asshole, you might have some. That's their curse.
Yeah.
Which Primarch was it that was obsessed with Brotherhood?
Well, no, that's a bad one.
And recreating Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's a bad.
Well, no, that's a bad story as to why he created the Black Legion. He wanted that Brotherhood of the Legions back.
Well, there you go.
But
So
none of the Primarchs,
You got Sons of Horus because that's what he was.
Yeah, you could say, yeah. We'll go. I'll give you. We'll meet halfway.
The
streams,
a little bit there. But anyway, the big thing with the Firehawks is their big sort of contribution to all this. They became lost in the warp and contracted an unknown warp contagion. As many as 200 members of the chapter may have survived and renamed themselves the Legion of the Damned. And one of the big things about this is may have. Because they don't actually know much about the Legion of the Damned other than they turn up, fight for the Imperium. They are definitely warp entities. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's my personal favourite theory on the Legion of the Damned, because the way they are, they're space marines clad in, for those people who don't know, they're sort of clad in macabre armour. They're kind of, it's black armour with flame motifs on it, and lots of skulls and skeletal, like representations of like skull masks or skulls, rib cages on their chest armour. And they kind of ethereally appear, almost, at points in battles that seem like maybe you've seen lost, and there's like a few space marines hanging on desperately to a vital objective, and then all of a sudden, bolt fire and flames come screaming out of the darkness, kind of thing, and then these Legions of the Damned marines appear, and then the battle happens, and then just as everyone's looking around, they kind of Batman-like just disappear into the ether. One of my personal favourite theories as to what they are is that they are the Space Marines, the best of the best Space Marines that have died in the service of the Emperor, and that they are serving the Emperor. This is literally what they're doing now. This is the souls of fallen Space Marines that are now basically still still fighting in the Emperor's name. They have they have such strong will.
Yeah, I think the thing that sort of made it, they played a very big part in the fall of Cadia. They came to help government a lot, and that sort of solidified for me the theory that they are almost angelic sort of, or demonic.
Yes.
But on the surface, rather than chaos, they're more Imperium. They're the Emperor's sort of.
Well, obviously have a very Ghost Rider aesthetic. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they look
like that sort of Spirit of Vengeance type. Yeah.
And they have that sort of thing. But that being said, Blackstone does affect them, just like it does Saint Celestine. Again, on the fall of Cadia, when they turn the pylon on, Saint Celestine's powers just disappear. So her
because that's the point, isn't it? It's like the warp powers both is what gives faith its power.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is also, again, coming back, this is why the Emperor wanted to eradicate religion, because this is because of the existence of the warp. Belief in something gives it power.
Yeah.
And it's one of those weird cyclic loops. It's like, it doesn't exist until you believe in it. But when you believe in it, it then actually exists. And it's like, so in order to not have that, you have to pretend like nothing exists.
Yeah,
it's a weird concept of of war, but it's like it makes sense when you sort of break it down to a logical.
It is an
awesome. But I can understand.
Yeah, it's one of the most awesome parts of 40k for me. Is the sort of the link that is, well, I believe it, and 10,000 other people believe it. So all of a sudden, I can sort of orate better and convince people better, and now 20,000 people believe it, and all of a sudden I can glow in the dark and banish demons and all this other. Now 100,000 people believe it, and all of a sudden I can, other people can start doing this shit as well. And oh wow! And then of course the danger of that is what you actually believe, which you thought was your local deity or whatever, actually turns out to just be another name for corn. Shit.
Yes.
And then,
it's like that's the thing. It's the classic gravity sort of description that people use, which is the whole: you take a rubber sheet and you put like a metal ball on it, and obviously it bends the rubber sheet, and then you take a lead ball and it bends it even more, and it's like that's kind of reality and faith.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing in 40k, is that like the ball gets heavier and heavier, but also the rubber sheet gets thinner and thinner as you stretch it further and further, and that's a bit like different to the physics one. Yeah, is that if you get that ball a little bit too heavy, something can punch through from the other side. And yeah, like you say, it's like, yeah, it can be a good thing. It can be, like, say, a force of light, like the Saint Celestine or whoever, but it also can be, yeah, something with many pseudopods and eyes and tentacles and other things.
And dripping with pus, which you never want.
Yes.
So the Firehawks, we are pretty certain are the Legion of the Damned, but...
Or they're one, but like a lot of things, they're one of the heavy influences used, like,
they
might
could be something a little bit different. So next on my list, there are 3 remaining. Banging the microphone there, sorry about that. There are 3 remaining, 2 that I know I have heard of before, and 1 that I have not. So I'm going to start with one that a lot of our listeners, if you are a fan of 40k, you should have heard of, and pops up in, of course, the Devastation of Baal, because why not? And that is the Lamenters chapter. Now, we do know the Lamenters are a Blood Angel successor chapter, because that was confirmed for us in the Devastation of Baal. So they are a Blood Angels thing, and they are not, they have not been excommunicated, but did it come close? It came close, because they were...
Well, because they are also involved in the Badab War.
The Badab War, which was the thing that almost got them excommunicate Taurus. That was the thing there.
But they were allowed to go, I believe they were allowed to go on a penitent crusade.
Indeed, they were
to make
100-year-long penitent crusade, because they were part of the secessionist force under Huron Blackheart.
Luft-Huron. Well, he was known as Luft-Huron at the time. He was the chapter master of the Astral Claws.
Yes. And
who later then became the notorious pirate Huron Blackheart, leader of the Red Corsairs.
The Red Corsairs, who, again, they turn up all over the place. So the Lamenters seem to have been cursed by a dark shadow of ill fortune that has long determined
bad luck.
And that is their flaw from the curse founding. Is
because they
unlucky as balls.
Yeah, if they turn up, you really don't want them to turn up, because everything's about to go from bad to worse. Yeah. I mean, they still win and things, but they basically, it's that whole thing of they turn up a thing, and it was on easy mode, and as soon as they arrive, we're now playing on hard mode.
Yeah.
Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Ammo stores will mysteriously explode. So the enemy will find this secret passage that gets them into the fortress, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So, I think I've found the successor chapter that I'm a part of.
Yes.
I think a lot of us have got Lamenter gene seed, I'll be honest.
Oh, yes, definitely.
The whole point of their creation was to try to remove the flaw in the Blood Angels gene seed, so I imagine the Red Thirst.
Well, that would be them trying to get rid of the Red Thirst.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
which I think they probably have done, but that's probably what contributes to the bad luck.
Yeah, so...
It's because in 40k there's a bargain to be made with everything. So.
Yes, there is a bargain, and their bargain was you either want to drink blood or you are really unlucky. But yeah,
everything has its price.
Indeed.
They were almost annihilated and absorbed by Hive Fleet Kraken. And they continue to this day to suffer from bad luck, basically. They're the bad luck chapter.
Indeed.
But they are still going. Like I said, they were referenced recently in the Devastation of Baal, where Dante basically said, have we heard from them? And Corbulo replies, yes, we have, and no, they're not coming, and we strongly suspect that because
they refuse to be part of that brotherhood, don't they?
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we're not flawed like you guys. We're fine, thanks. Yeah.
They I also think they may have sort of gone, well, it's hard enough as it is. If we turn up...
Trust me, you don't want us to turn up, mate. It'll make it worse.
Idea for us to turn... I mean, it went badly anyway. It wasn't going well. Can you imagine if your Marines are tripping over their own feet because they're stood next to a Lamenter who's just like, sorry, dude,
yes.
Can't help it.
They are the living embodiment of the natural one.
Yeah, everybody's rolling natural ones all the time. It would have been terrible. So... I don't know if you want to believe that maybe they kind of went, guys, we're not coming, man.
Trust me, no.
But probably for the best. Or if Dante or Corbulo or one of the others or Mephiston just went, you're not coming. Piss off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, this is no Lamentus here.
Yeah. So it's just like, we have to invite you because, you do have the...
It's that whole thing of like, it's the aunt you don't want to come to a wedding, you're going to invite them, but you're really hoping they're going to say no.
Yeah, please don't turn up.
Yeah,
please,
just send a present.
Yeah, just, send a thank you note. Job done.
Yeah.
So the next one on the list, before we get this one I have heard of again, and I know you know this one, Pete, as well, is the Minotaurs.
Oh, yes.
So
I do love the Minotaurs.
So basically, the Minotaurs are consumed by xenophobic hatred that far surpasses the righteous fury of a normal space marine. Which, by the way,
not just xenophobia.
Not just xenophobia.
Yeah.
Super xenophobia.
Yes.
So they are, like many, they are a close combat chapter. They do prefer strong assault squad orientation, which is basically... Their aesthetic and their design is very Spartan. Yeah. They have bronze armor. They tend to have like combat shields with the lambda on it that was prevalent in Sparta. Their icons, obviously, it's a bullhead. Red in red. But the Minotaurs, this is the chapter I was hoping to talk about because they are important. They are interesting. They're also colossal asshats. Yes, definitely. The very interesting fact about them is they are a Space Marine chapter that is under the direct control of the High Lords of Terror. Normally Space Marines are independent entities. They are obviously under the Imperium and they can be asked to do things, but you can't order them to do things. Inquisitions just like to try every so often. But the point being is that the High Lords of Terror are like, hey, there's a war zone. We'd really like your assistance. Could you please go and do that? And most of the time, Space Marines are going to be like, sure, it's in our area code. That's fine. We'll send some guys. But they also have the ability to go, no, go fuck yourself. And however, the Minotaurs are pretty much the High Lord's hit squad. They are sent, usually, if a Space Marine chapter goes, no, go fuck yourself, they might then get a visit from the Minotaurs. Because the Minotaurs, being massively xenophobic, they hate everybody. Not just aliens, but also pretty much anyone that's not them or the High Lords of Terror. This came up, this came up in the Banab War Crusade, because obviously they were one of the chapters sent to take out Huron and his allies, and they did quite a good job of it. And also, more importantly to sort of modern 40k, they were involved in the whole Watch of the Throne Regent Shadow thing. So when Guilliman sort of reorganised the High Lords of Terror and then fecked off on the Indomitors Crusade, some of the sort of deposed High Lords of Terror and some of the current ones were like, cool, he's gone. Right, put everything back to where it was. And one of the ways they sort of wanted to do that was they were like, quick, call the Minotaurs in. They'll help us do this. So, yeah, the Minotaurs turned up and started like attacking large parts of Terra and killing lots and lots of people. And their chapter master, Asterion Moloch, is just a colossal mob, basically. Yeah, he is well known for being very unpopular. Like, with everybody that isn't a Minotaur or the High Lords of Terror, none of the other chapter masters want anything to do with him. They see him as sort of like in their band of brotherhood, because even in different chapters, they refer to each other very often as brother, even if it's a different
or cousins,
or cousins, or that sort of thing. They are like the bullies to them. They're like, they turn up and they're like, you need to do this, and they're like, hang on a minute, you can't tell me shit. Like, I'm not doing what you tell me. Like, I'm a captain in my own right, and you're a captain, or you're a chapter master. I'm a chapter master. We hold the same rank. You can't tell me to do anything. Like, that's very prevalent. Like, they sit down as equals, and that was, again, like, the whole thing of Baal when they sit down is that Dante becomes the first amongst equals for the very first time since... And the point being is, they make a big point of like, everyone, we have to agree, somebody has to be in charge. Yes. We're all the same rank. Yes, I am the Blood Angel, I am the Primogenitors Chapter Master, but we need to make this clear that everyone votes for this. Yeah. And that,
whoever comes out on top, everyone who votes for them or didn't vote for them still follows their leadership.
Yeah.
Because it's such a huge deal, isn't it, in that book? And I think it is a big thing.
Really well.
Not the obviously like, yes, of course it's Dante. Of course it's fucking Dante. And he's like, yeah, but let's just make it official.
Yeah, he makes a very big deal of making sure that everybody understands. While there are some chapters amongst them and captains and chapter masters who basically go, why would it not be Dante? That doesn't, he's essentially, they all view him almost as Sanguinius. Like, all the time.
Yes.
He's always fighting against, like, I am not Sanguinius. I might wear his mask, but I'm not him.
But, like, he's the oldest. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't help that he's also the oldest. He's also the chapter master of the Blood Angels. Yeah. He has all these things going for him, but he's like, look, just to be certain. Like, so there's no ambiguity.
Yeah. But then, of course, with the Minotaurs, which is where it's really important, is they rock up and they have this sense of superiority over other chapter masters, which was kind of...
Because they think, because we're sanctioned by the High Lords,
I'm more important than you. And he's like, oh, no. I'm a chapter master. You're a chapter master. You can command your boys to do whatever you want, but you won't tell me and my boys what we're doing. And especially chapters like the Blood Angels wouldn't really stand for that very much. The
Space Wolves, the Dark Angels, Space Wolves,
the Black Templars, Grimaldus and Hellbrecht, I imagine, would have like a very visceral and violent reaction. I mean, High Marshal Hellbrecht, if somebody rocked up and started telling him what to do, I can imagine there being violence very quickly, because the man is
unless it's literally the Emperor himself, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so you could probably get like Gulliman could turn up, and even then, I don't really think he likes him that much. But he kind of has that respect for him. Like, if it was Dawn, if it was Rogel Dawn that turned up, now that's different. He would be like, and whatever you say, my lord, me and our entire 1,000, obviously.
Exactly, and no more.
And no more, never any more than 1,000, Astartes. But what about those other 50 ships? Never mind those. They're
they're auxiliaries.
They're auxiliaries.
That's where we make the sandwiches. It's fine.
Yeah, they're all good. But yeah, like if Dorn turned up and told Grimaldus, you must go here and do this, the whole of the chapter would march into death and not think anything of it.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
But if the Minotaurs turned up and went, you have to do this, they'd be like, and go fuck yourself. Like, you're not telling us anything. So that's why the Minotaurs, nobody likes them, especially the Space Marines, and nobody.
But the thing is, they are good at what they do. They wouldn't have lasted as long as they have if they weren't very good at what they do.
They do.
But like I said, the problem is they have a reputation because they've been able to keep going for long enough.
Yeah.
Plus, I think they have a cool aesthetic.
I do like the cool chapters.
Yeah, they're one of the chapters. Like I've considered. Well, there was a few of us who considered doing a Badab War campaign for 40k, and back then I was like, I did Salamanders, and my friend Ben did some Astral Claws, and a few other people did a bunch, like Carcharodons and Raptors and things. And I was really this close to doing Minotaurs because I think they are really cool.
I think
that whole Spartan aesthetic.
Yeah, I think your style of painting really suits them as well. I think they would really pop with the style of painting that you do. And I think
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it'd look really cool.
It might be a random squad. It might be one of those things I just randomly paint one.
Yeah,
you know what? We're going to paint a squad of Minotaurs just because.
Yeah. So now then, this next one, I have never heard of. So I wonder if you have. The Sons of Antaeus. Antaeus. I believe I've pronounced that correctly.
Antaeus, maybe?
Sons of Antaeus, maybe? Have you heard of these?
Yes, I think I have heard about these. Right. I think I have. Right. I could be completely wrong, and I might be... There's a reason they're called the Sons of Antaeus.
Okay.
Because they're all Antaeus.
Oh, okay.
They are clones.
Okay.
If I remember rightly, I'm pretty certain there might be one of those things that's like alluded to, but it's not like actually thing. Because this is part of the flaw. So I remember, and the thing about the Cursed Founding is, they did this as originally the Cursed Founding. They covered the Cursed Founding in a White Dwarf article that was part of the Index Astartes series. For those people who remember that way back when, I've got a couple of the. Let's quickly have a look. What am I doing?
Pete's disappeared.
Yeah, sorry. I am just looking in my. Here they are. So, They were originally featured in a White Dwarf article known as the, like I said, known as the Index of Astartes articles. And in fact, luckily, I actually have the one that they're in. Hey. I just realised. So, yes, here we go. So the Cursed Founding.
I don't have anything about them being all the same.
No, the reason I say it is because one of the things that went with the Cursed Founding article was a White Dwarf article about how to use them in game.
Oh, okay.
And the list of aberrant traits you could give them.
Ah, okay.
And one of them was Clone Warriors. So I think, like I said, I might not be like 100%, but I'm pretty certain the reason they're called the Sons of Antaeus is because it's heavily hinted. Like I said, it's never confirmed, but it's heavily hinted that they are all the same Space Marine.
Ah, okay. Well, Antaeus is they're based on Greek mythology, and Antaeus, where I found it a second ago, was a giant in Greek mythology, as far as I can tell.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm getting it wrong. So, no, it's the other flaw that I'm remembering now.
So this is, as with many other Space Marine chapters, Sons of Antaeus are inspired by cultures of certain ancient Terran societies, Terra, of course, being Earth, just in case you are new. In this case, the Greek mythological figure Antaeus, an incredibly strong and near invincible man, descended from the god of the sea Poseidon and the Titaness Gaia. So their deal that they
here we go. This is where I remember now. They're giants.
They are, even for Space Marines, they are exceptionally durable, hardy, and they have increased size and strength even for Space Marines.
They would look like Primaris Space Marines next to other Firstborn.
Yes, that's their shtick, basically. Now
I remember. I'm getting confused between them and another thing. Because I remember the other giants was they could have gigantism.
Yes, so this sort of gigantism that they've got. However, their obviously primogenitor is unknown, but would you like to take a guess at who everybody thinks their primogenitor is?
See, obviously the initial thing to think of is obviously Magnus because he was a giant, and I don't think that's right.
No, it's not that one. Think the polar opposite of that one, in fact.
Yeah, Lehman Russ.
No, the other way.
Trying to think.
Despise Magnus, to the best of my knowledge.
Oh, Mortarion.
Yes, they believe they are.
That makes sense.
Death Guard.
Death Guard, with them being big and invincible. Yeah, that makes sense.
They're very hardy, very sturdy, like extra size and durability and all that sort of thing.
No.
What?
Yes.
No, you're wrong.
What do you mean? What do you mean I'm wrong? What? I've just literally read it right there. Oh. Wow. Okay. So.
What's that?
And then when I flick pages, Evie is actually correct. So under the 21st founding on the page here, it says at the bottom, less sympathetic observers point out that the chapter appears every bit as resilient as the Death Guard Traitor Legion. However, when we go to their individual section on the Warhammer Wiki, which is where I do get my information from, so if it's wrong, it's not my fault, just pointing that out there. And of course, unlike Pete, I don't have quite the inductive knowledge that Pete does. Well, Pete was reading White Dwarf, I was drinking and doing a lot of drugs. So my brain is a bit mush. But 21st founding, 36th millennium, successor of, apparently, the Ultramarines, with the Primarch Rubute Gilliman. Now,
I mean, if you're going to use some base DNA,
yep, his is the one.
And for some reason you don't want to use the best gene seed, the least, because for some reason, even though the mighty Dark Angels have the most uncorrupted gene seed of all the Space Marine legions, it doesn't get used very often. But the Ultramarines, God, they're everywhere.
I know. That is 50%.
I think it's prejudice. Prejudice, mate. It's what it is. It's prejudice.
50% of you turned traitor. That's why.
Oh yeah, unlike say, I don't know, the White Scars. Anyway, or all the Space Marine chapters of the Ultramarines that have since turned traitor.
Well, that's what happens when you have so many children. Some of them are bound to come out bad, right? That's it. But the Ultramarines, I'm sorry, but they didn't turn.
There was like 6 Dark Angels that went bad. The rest of them were just caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, wrong
That's how
time.
it works.
I've tried that defense. It doesn't work, mate. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
That sort of defense ends up getting you 3 to 5. Anyway, so according to this, they are actually from the Ultramarines, but I don't know about that. I'm not sure I like that as a thing.
Yeah.
Like they do sound an awful lot like Death Guard to me with their like.
I mean, see, let's be honest. It's the easiest get out of jail free card, isn't it? Like, what's your primogenitor? The Ultramarines? Yeah, probably. Like, they've got millions of the damn things. Yeah. I'm not going to argue. Like, if you were like Space Wars, people were like, hang on a minute. Like, they're famous for not having any. Yeah. Like, you got Ultramarines, everyone's like, they probably fell off the bottom of the list somewhere, you know.
Like Salamanders. Look, mate, I don't think so. There's like 4, and you're not noted as one of them. Like, Ultramarines, everybody's a successor of the Ultramarines.
Everyone's an Ultramarine, basically,
Yeah, like, there's so many of them. But yeah, so that's weird. I'm not sure about that. I think that might be a little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card that they...
just put Ultramarines on the label, Steve. No one will question it.
Yeah, just put Ultramarines. That's what they do for everything else. Just under the section... Primark, everybody just writes Gulliman, like, and there's
it's just safe. Yeah, it's a safe answer.
It's just a safe one. Everyone knows he didn't turn traitor or anything bad.
Yeah, it's fine. Plus, he had loads of successes. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No one checks.
Right?
All right, lads.
They won't check.
We're loyalists, right? Right, guys.
Right, guys.
Yeah.
So that does bring us to the end of the 21st founding. There weren't many chapters for.
No. Probably for the best.
Yeah, probably for the best. Most of them either turned traitor or got wiped out or had really bad shit.
I like how most of them were actually involved in the Badab War as well. Like half of them were involved in the Badab War.
The Black Dragons, I believe, were in Badab for a little bit.
No, Black Dragons were not. But it's I know it's the Firehawks were definitely there. The Minotaurs, the Mentors. Yeah, so it's like roughly half.
The Black Dragons had a company or two at the Badab, you know.
I don't think so because they're not in the Badab War books.
I'll tell you what, let's have a look. I'm going to bring this up as the last thing we do today.
Here we go.
Because don't forget, ladies.
As far as I'm aware.
Don't forget. Let's see if I can find out who was involved in this. Here we go. I've got the list. There we go. Okay, so the attackers, so the good guys in this case, the Carcharodon Astra.
Everyone's Space Sharks.
Space Sharks. We like those a lot.
We do, they're awesome.
The Exorcist sent 5 companies. Yes. The Fire Angels, their entire chapter. The Fire Hawks, their entire chapter.
There we go.
The Howling Griffins, 250 Astartes, which is about 2.5 companies. Marines Errant, 6 companies. Minotaurs, the entire chapter. Nova Marines, 2 companies.
Yep.
Raptors, 4 companies. Red Scorpions, 8 companies. Salamanders.
Yep.
It doesn't give a number.
1 company. It's 1 company because I was painting the entire company for my for my
Sons of Medusa, equivalent of 5 or 6 companies.
Yes, because they operate like the Iron Hands because they're an Iron Hand successor. They have plans.
Okay. Star Phantoms, the entire chapter.
Yes.
The Inquisition, the Astra.
Totally not the Dreadwing.
Yeah, the Astra Militarum, Legio Curio, Crucio.
Maybe? Yeah, Legio Crucio.
This one here, Legio Crucius. My Latin's all.
Legio Crucius.
Crucius, thank you. I was
Crucius, yeah.
Battlefleet Carthago and Battlefleet Solar Reserves. And you were right, Pete. Nope, they weren't there. No Black Dragons.
No.
Would you like to know who they fought against?
Go on then. I was going to remember half.
Very quickly.
Hang on. Let me see which ones. Let's see if I can do it. So we've got the Astral Claws, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Lamenters.
Yep.
We've got the Executioners.
Yep.
I want to say Mantis Warriors.
Yes, you're right. Mantis Warriors.
Mantis Warriors. So I'm just trying to go through the various symbols in my head. Come on, I know there's some more of that. There's more. We've got the Executioners. We've got the thing. No, I think that's. I can't bring it.
No,
tell me the
rest.
Because
the only other one mentioned under that is the Tyrants Legion, which were a company of.
Which were actually the Tyrants Legion were Space Marines were leading or human auxiliaries.
Yes, so they were leading people.
So I got them all. Wow.
Yeah, you did.
I thought I'd missed some.
No, Astral Claws, Executioners, Lamenters, and Mantis Warriors.
There we go.
And that's it. And yeah, so basically the outcome, just so everyone knows, because it will be a while before we cover the Bad Ab War, because it is a big thing, and I don't know.
Imperium 1, Traitors 0. No.
Yeah, Astral Claws all but wiped out. Approximately 200 survivors flee into the Maelstrom to become the Red Corsairs. The remaining secessionists from the Executioners, Mantis Warriors, and Lamenters undertake a 100-year penitent crusade to atone for their crimes, and the entire population of Badab Primaris is exterminated, and the planet rendered a dead world. So Badab Primaris is exterminated.
One of the fun little things about the bad guys, though, one other thing I like the most is the little story, is like the thing about the executions. The reason why they went was because they were oath bound to the Astral Claws.
Yes.
And they didn't want to.
No.
They specifically didn't want to. But they were oath bound. So what happened was the chapter master said, I will say yes, and it'll be on my head. And then the High Reclusiarch cut his head off in penitence.
Yeah.
And then they went. Because they're like, we ordered to, but he's like, I paid with my life straight away. And it's like, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, the other thing the reason they got the executioners out of the battle as well was they managed to prove that Uran or Luft Uran was said something along the lines of like, I'm in charge, I'm the greatest, blah blah blah, traitory nonsense. Up until that point, nobody in the executioners had actually heard this and known anything about it. They were just following what they were told. And of course, as soon as they could prove that this was going against what the Emperor wanted, essentially, and fighting the Imperium, as soon as they got proof of this, they went, and fuck you, we're done now, because now we can get out of it, because you've used our oath against us, and blah, blah, blah. And they went, basically, and backed out of the fight entirely and just stopped. And then just waited until they got there and basically said to the Inquisition, look, we didn't have a choice. We didn't know what was going on.
We put your hands up, do whatever you want. Yeah.
Do whatever you want. So they sent them on. Rather than lose the Executioners, who are a loyal chapter and a very good chapter at doing what they do, which is surgical strikes, very good fleet-based chapter that does void combat really well. Rather than that, they just went 100 years off it over there, go and do stuff.
Go that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they did. So so that was that. The Lamenters, obviously, and the Mantis Warriors, also 100-year doofus for similar reasons, a penitent crusade for similar reasons. But with that, yes, we are at the end of the 21st founding. Next time is Q&A. So if you have any Q, we will
We're ready for the A
to give you the A. But yes, it is questions and answers next week, and then after that, the origins and the wrath wrought by the introduction of Primaris Marines.
Yes. Some interesting lore, I should say.
So we will cover them
stories.
From there. They're sort of the start when they came in and everybody lost their minds to now and the interesting parts of their lore and how it morphed over the last few years. Because I think it's about time. So I think it's set now. I don't think they're going to change it again. So
No.
Quite well. So until then, next time, don't forget, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a review on whichever platform you are listening on. If you are new, you can go back and listen to some of our other random ramblings and share those around amongst your friends. And thank you for listening. Until next time, it is goodbye from me. Oh, wait, no.
It's goodbye from him.
Hang on. No, wait. No. Wait. She stopped me mid-rant. There we go.
Take two.
If you have been listening to us on YouTube and you'd love to see our beautiful faces, then feel free to follow us on Spotify.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I forgot about the random nonsense that makes no sense.
Yeah, so our content that makes no sense is, of course, if you're listening on YouTube and you want to see us...
You can watch on Spotify.
You can watch on Spotify. And if you're watching us on Spotify and you don't like
Spotify, you can listen to us
on YouTube, where we're not there, apparently, because I don't know.
Yeah.
We are a little behind
last week. My tiny mind.
Last week, as of recording, last week's episode is causing my wife serious amounts of stress as regards to the editing of it. So it will be up soon, so you'll probably get a double hit real quick of 1 and 2. So last time, Skaven. This time, obviously, 21st Founding Glorious. Can I do my thing now?
Yes, you can.
I can
Sorry.
do my thing.
Hey, we got there.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from her. Goodbye.
So long.
Okay.